fight the power like Big Chuck.
What's the status, 3?
I'm good, just making the world a better place, that's all.
Yin and yang, seasons change, everything seem the same. Yin and yang, up and down, everything seem to change. Yin and yang, seasons change, everything seem the same. Yin and yang, up and down, everything seem to change.
The time is now, no bezel. I am God, the flesh is just a vessel. Last warrior standing after the smoke settle. Word wizardry, and none of y'all is on my level. Religious dickheads live on their knees looking to the sky. I put a hole between your two ears, piercing your third eye. Now the static in your attic, watching your soul fly. At nighttime I can hear so many souls cry. What's illegal is said to be a crime, but what's legal is more criminal than a convict's mind. Racist ideology, separatist paradigm. The yin and yang is a duality in my slang. When you battle the god, you're pissing in the wind, cutting off heads with words that come from within. Some say it's the ancestors I'm tapping in, or harness evil spirits from a djinn. It's just pure skills, listen to my frequency as the god builds. No mason but stack bricks up to the gills. Tartarian skills, pulling from the ether aura of Earth's energy field. Yield, slow down and pump your brakes. Knowledge is wisdom and self, I put faith. To pray to a stranger, to me it's just a waste. I am God, one and only soul controller. My heart is more cold when I'm sober. If you think you have a fighting chance, it's over. I come crashing down like a landslide of boulders.
Yin and yang, seasons change, everything seem the same. Yin and yang, up and down, everything seem to change. Yin and yang, seasons change, everything seem the same. Yin and yang, up and down, everything seem to change. Yin and yang, seasons change, everything seem the same. Yin and yang, up and down, when everything seem to change. Kamikaze. Got 100 pounds of bomb on me out on Bible. If you sell it to me, you would die holy. I know creatures whose features change, shape shift, and the next day they don't look the same. I think we're pawns in this crooked game. I fill my heart with joy, but where do I put the pain? Where was my morals when I was pushing cane? In the gang doing 2 a days. If you a slave, it's because the system you behave. A beehive is a replica of the brain. A ant built the pyramids before the humans came. In a woman, the sun is furthest away. In the summer, the lightning comes before the thunder. Nothing comes before the mother. Moving cane don't make you able to turn on your brother. I got a magazine, don't make me put you on the cover. Yin and yang, seasons change, everything seem the same. Yin and yang, up and down, everything seem to change. Yin and yang, seasons change, everything seem the same. Yin and yang, up and down, everything seem to change. Yin and yang, seasons change, everything seem the same. Yin and yang, up and down, everything seem to change. Yin and yang, seasons change, everything seem the same. Yin and yang, up and down, everything seem to change.
Arcane on the beat.
H-O-T-C, hold the rudder chakras, hold the rudder chakras. H-O-T-C, hold the rudder chakras, hold the rudder chakras. H-O-T-C, hold the rudder chakras, hold the rudder chakras. H-O-T-C, hold the rudder chakras, hold the rudder chakras. My ideology is just an idea of the shit I run like diarrhea, waking up non-believers. And I'm not talking about Jesus neither. I got my dad and my mother's features. I use my nose to measure evil, the treasure keeper. My mind thoughts measure deeper but higher than Ebenezer. Weapon squeezer, lesson teacher, I've risen from what's left from reefer. You can feel the chakras forming space right between us. I travel Venus, and the ending's just beginning. Now we need ventilation just to walk the nation. We facing elimination. I'm looking at this shit sideways. Now we witnessing tidal waves. Mass destruction. Mother Earth going to war against the wrong people. Praying's out of the question, we had our chance to. And everything you read in Revelations is gonna come true. I speak in tongues, come from worlds beyond this atmosphere. Writing hieroglyphics, a descendant building a pyramid with my brain. Like them Egyptians, the core of my mind enables me to travel back in time. You know the body stopped, but the soul will never die. 2,000 years ago, I was here, but in a different life.
It's one of my favorite verses by Sir Drop. What's up, Dom? Candy, that which is. So I was watching this video. I think it was by forgot his name, about that Antarctic trip. Never seen such global promotion for the flat earth, only because they shit on them in every fucking article. So who are these people they sent is number one. I think Jeranism was the one who went. But I screenshotted this right here because this guy's a liar, number one. And he seems to be speaking for everybody. Which I don't know who gave him the okay to do that, but
final. Unfortunately for them, they have propped up this experiment for years called the Bedford Level Experiment. And if that was an experiment, then so is this. And in terms of it not being final, flat earthers, the biggest flat earthers out there for years, have said that this will settle the debate. They've said, if there's a 24-hour sun, we are wrong, we live on a globe. If there's not a 24-hour sun, we are right, and the earth is flat. So I actually came up with this by listening to them, and so their issues with...
Stop it. No, he did not. They asked like 3 so-called major flat earthers, and they only asked ones that they could compromise. No one went to Bro Sanchez, right? I don't even think Eric Dubay. Shit, there's way more people than that. But I guess you got to be a famous flat earther, right? You gotta have that label. Yeah, so do I. He said, I never said if there's a 24-hour sun. I wouldn't even look up at the sky to measure the floor. Like, I don't know, man. Stuff's pretty ridiculous. And I forgot who put the video out. It's pretty good. Hold on. I watched it this morning. Let me see. The truth is stranger than fiction. Put it out. And then there's another part where the guy said, you said, he called someone on the phone and he was like, you said we would be turned around by machine guns. Like, and he's trying to make a point. He's calling the guy a liar that they didn't get turned around. And I'm like, yeah, you didn't, because you bought the fucking tickets and you had to get a passport, and you know, you had to pay money to go out there. You had to do everything through the government. Now, if you did none of that and you tried to go out there, I'm pretty sure they would, the Coast Guard or somebody would stop you for sure. Well, I don't call myself a flat earther, and I don't need a label. And even so, I wouldn't look at the fucking sky to measure the ground. Whatever happens up there has nothing to do, for the most part. Well, I can't say it has nothing to do with what goes down here, because some of what happens up there could come from the down here. But what I'm saying is, the sun isn't going to tell you what the ground is. What's up, Dom?
Hey, Charles. I'm doing well. Yourself? Hope you're doing well.
Yeah.
I kind of jokingly said, when are they going to start exploring where the clouds are coming and where they're going? Are they triangle when they disappear? Are they, are they circular when they show up? It'll be like trying to prove whether or not there's surrounding land masses around the Earth. A good thing to inquire about, I guess, and use as possibilities is when people try to prove it. That's when it becomes challenging, and then it stirs up the people out of the woodworks to do arguments or debates over it. It's like somebody saying, I'm lying. Well, prove me wrong if I'm lying. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they're trying to prove it out of interest. They're trying to prove it out of ego or to keep a certain model going.
It could, but some of the interest could be for some of these channels. Once you start realizing that they're getting big and they're getting financial gains, I said, okay, so I can see it's kind of like going to the moon, whether they did or didn't go to the moon. You trace the money, you can see some of the interest. They make gains from it. Isn't it kind of like what a priest does or other kind of religious folks? They could probably say, this is, like an evangelist. They might even know they're full of crap. And they figure that's the best way to be in. And I'm going to mislead everybody, and I'll just keep on giving, the handout plate or whatever. If it's not about economic gains, a lot of times, Charles, is about notoriety. And yes, you're talking about the ego. Yes, it would gratify the ego. Even the people that want to denounce whatever they're trying to position they're going to have to be pulled in with their ego too.
I know I do it because it truly interests me. As far as proving, I'm just doing me. I really don't care what other people think.
Well, we do to a certain point because we are going to entertain this. We're either going to watch it and regurgitate it, so that we're part of it, but probably not directly. You know, it's kind of like when people want to talk about being an atheist opposed to being a Christian kind of ideal. It's more about the debate than it is really about being an atheist or a Christian. So in this case, it's not even really about flat earthers or globalists. It's about debating so they can say, I see, I proved you wrong. Those are the I told you so kind of gang, or I got you gang.
I was wondering that, Candy, myself. I seen a few things that were off, but you know, that was my main issue. Is you can go anywhere just because there's snow and mountains. People will be like, "Oh, they're in Antarctica." You know, that's one major advantage.
Maybe it's the same place that did the moon landing, but with snow. Did they see some bubbles?
Canada. I think it's way north in Canada. I forgot the name of the island. And it does look like Mars in the summer.
I'm going to guess here, but I've heard other people talk about it. Again, this is hearsay. There's probably lots of places throughout the world that most of the masses have never even seen. And when they do show it, like say from a helicopter or a drone view, it's kind of like an awe, but it's when you're trying to prove it, okay, so this is where we're at. You know, why don't you show me a picture of Antarctica and then show me where Canada is, or where North America is in Canada, or where Russia is? For most people, it's like, that's just more landmass. Well, that's exactly what we're doing. We're looking at landmass from somewhere else, and then they're going to look at the two spheres up in the sky and say, okay, so that's where the sun is, and that's where the moon is. The sun doesn't set. Okay. And that's where the conversation ends. And at that point, the only way I could continue with them is if I pick the opposing side, whatever side they're taking. Opposed to, okay, let's say the earth is flat, and let's say we're living in somewhat of a dome, opposed to thinking that we're on a dome, but let's say we're on a dome. So then do we slide off? And then, of course, people start bringing mathematical formulas. Then the question would be, who gave you those numbers to make mathematical formulas? Oh, sorry, Dom. You're trying to reason this again. That's the part that I'm fucking myself with. It's like talking to Christians. Yeah, well, in the Bible, it tells us we're going to be saved. Okay, you're looking at a book. How do you explain to somebody else that I'm not willing to I'm entertaining, but I'm not willing to believe just because it's written in the book that there is such thing as a guy named Jesus? It's the same story over again.
Yeah, which is, you gotta laugh. That which just came out of left field with this. Like, what the fuck?
Flat Earth and globe is kind of like Christians and Muslims. You know, two opposing sides. One believes in their side. They probably don't truly investigate. But let's say they did, then they should be at peace with themselves. But no, they have to make an enemy to justify their side. That's like wars. It's like saying communism doesn't work from a democracy point of view or a capitalist point of view. And then, of course, a communist point of view might turn around and say, well, capitalism doesn't work if you're trying to get people to hoard together. Okay. Me and you, Charles, were born in a part of the world where
label, man. That's what they.
Sorry, Charles, I missed that part. Did you say label?
Yeah, they have people fighting for a name or a label, like Flat Earther versus Globe or Christian versus Muslim. Instead of just existing and both can be right, you could learn from each other. What if instead of, I'm not saying don't try to disprove things, because a lot of stuff is lies, but
well, the opportunity is
put there to confuse you, because people like doing that.
Confuse or distract, or you can learn better about human behaviors from within self, and then realize, okay, so I know I can easily be deceived. I can deceive myself. So why wouldn't it be any difference if I was in another part of the world hearing a different story? You know, like if me and you were conditioned, Charles, and we're working, earning a lot of fiat currency, we might knowingly or unknowingly know that the system that we're in is very deceitful or misleading. Would we actually change our ways? That's like hearing a bunch of criminals and one person in among them say, you know, should we be concerned about the people that we're stealing from? People would all look at him like, excuse me? You know, we're criminals, right? Well, yeah. So then why would you bring that into the conversation? Like to make us laugh? So if there's people that have designed it, you know, the best way to fool people is make somebody a martyr of the cause of flat earth, and usually from some kind of religious position or state position, and then let everybody else just chase their tails around. Oh, Obama said flat earth. Okay, there you go. And you honestly think Obama writes his scripts? No, it's probably written for him. And he might question, why should I say it? I said, no, that's not the question you should be asking. How do you land it? That's what you'd be asking. Convince them. You know, leave a couple of holes open so that people can play with it a little bit. You know, if it's not about flat earth, it's the Mandela effect. If it's not the Mandela effect, it's about Black Lives Matter. If it's not about Black Lives Matter, it's wars in Ukraine and in Russia. If it's not about them, then it's the Vatican and their hat that they're wearing. Do you see all the different stories that people play with?
Yeah, I think the heliocentric model is to keep people from exploring. We got it all. Everything's explored. You know, everything, you know, there's nothing else left. They don't want people leaving here. They got to keep their herd round up. If people leave, then you don't have a system and you ain't making money.
Well, if we went upwards, Charles, how far do you think a person in a human form could go before something happens? It would be no different.
I'd want to go upwards in the physical. There's no fruit or vegetables up there. There's no water.
Okay, but let's go as above. Now let's go below. How far do you think we can go just solely in the human form downwards? Probably not that far. You would like to find out, but we would probably use devices, suits of some sort. So if that's above and that's below, how much would it be on either side now? You know, this is why when they joke about, you know, the ice wall kind of ideal. You know, is that to keep other things out or from us from going, you know, from going in?
End of our alleged realm, right? And it could just have land that keeps going.
It could. I'm with you. It could. But then we also have the ability that most of us, if we wanted to, we could go to other parts of the world, but do we? How many people truly, really, you know, there's people that do it, but how many? Like, you know, millions maybe only choose to go in a device like a plane or a boat or a train and go to different parts.
You got to have the resources.
Well, that's the thing, resources. And if you have the resources, you can also keep people in check when you have the resources. And the people too, because with resources, you can pay people off. Because again, understanding human behavior, most of us, if they're honest with themselves, would gladly fall into that system. They might begrudge it.
One person that has the resources to find out, hey man, we can leave here and there's more land. That's what they do.
Sounds like the story of Jesus now. The one person, the one person has salvation, you know, the truth. I'll set you free, you know, from all your stories that you created among yourselves. You know, oh, that can't be possible. That can't be true. Hence, first impression is lasting impression. So when people finally get introduced to what the story is of flat earth or globe and all that, it takes a lot of them. It takes a lot to pull yourself away from that magnetic pull. Well, it has to be either or. No, that's reinforcing the either or. It has to be one or the other. What about the possibility it's neither or both or many? You know, isn't that what the atheists do with the religious? You know, oh, I don't believe in a God. Okay, so you don't believe in a God. So you're going to tell me that I have to prove it? Well, we can't prove it, so therefore it doesn't exist. Oh, okay. Maybe my God's in my imagination, but I do realize there's stuff out here that humans have not created. So that door always has to stay open for me at that point. I can't close that door. I can't say, I could change the word God. I could call it reptilians. I can call it aliens. But until somebody says, well, Dom, we created the sun. Okay, who? Give me a name. Socrates? Did he create the sun? Was it Da Vinci? Who created the sun? And I don't want to hear the word science because that's just masking the idea that there is individuals in that. Governments, state, no. So there's out of the question. So now we're all inside of this pool deciding to know whether or not it's flat. The earth just means dry land. And then there's two spheres up in the sky close to us. You can use a binocular and you can see some sort of star or some sort of whatever pixel out there. And some people have learned to read the alignments of those things. Like, is ultimately all this to prove a side right and the other side wrong?
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of like atheists and Christians, and states with their democracy and communism. So it's basically the same thing wrapped differently. So it is a season of holidays. Go ahead, Charles.
It ain't for me. I'm not.
Oh, it's not for you, Charles. Yeah.
I'm not trying to prove to no one else. I'm trying to prove for me.
Well, that's what I say, directly or indirectly. Indirectly, we're going to be affected by this. It's like people are going to be indirectly affected by poverty. It might not be in their wheelhouse, but indirectly they'll be affected by it. That's why when people bring up the fact that we're going to finance or try to help poor people, indirectly you're going to be affected by it. Directly, yeah, a person that's homeless or whatever, you have to inquire whether or not, why are you homeless? Besides just the obvious, I want to make sure you get you out of the environment. I thought the species has been trying to do that for centuries. Some people decided to go back into it. Then you find out some people are probably mentally, having a struggles or whatever, and they've been outcasted or they don't have no loved ones. And then there's other people, they just can't afford to maintain their lifestyle, for example. That's why some people are homeless. Or they make it a choice, I'm going to live in an RV or I'm going to live in a tent. Okay. We give handouts in many ways, giving people's attention without understanding why they're in that situation. It could be a handout. They quite squash quickly when people are speculating or bringing some information about maybe giant trees, or giants in general. Then they make it into a form of, well, they were dinosaurs. So we're going to take this one little bone and put it in a museum and then just use our imagination and say, this is what they look like. This is how they journeyed. And this is how long they lived. This is how they became extinct. Oh, okay. It's great.
That's how they get people to follow the system. The system's got to make it not look like it knows what it's talking about.
Well, you pay people that understand psychology and they understand how to market things and all that, Charles. Yeah, for sure. A businessman a business person wants to put the best people around them, well educated. Okay, are you the top of your class of marketing? Yes. You're working for me. Are you the best among all the ones that understand astrology? You're working for me. So next thing you know, they're all working for you, and then you pay people enough, you'll see how a team works. You might have a couple of superstars, but you can always change that by saying, I'm going to pay other people a little bit more. Why is that? Because you're the superstar. You're getting the attention, but I'm going to pay them more. Well, I want to get paid more. I said, well, then come down a little bit and let everybody else be somewhat working together and gelling together. Again, money's always the equalizer when it comes to human behaviors. Took a lot of conditioning to get to that point. The fact that these guys or whoever they are, they're using devices based on them, that they're going to allow them to use one of their devices like a plane to go over there, and because they hear them say, oh, well, Antarctica has a treaty or whatever. What, you think that was leaked out, or do you think that's purposely designed that way to say that stuff?
It's purposely designed.
Sure it is. Same with the moon. The moon, there was a lot of things going on during the moon landing, and it wasn't about going to the moon. It's a distraction. It's like when they're doing impeachments on certain presidents. That's a distraction because they're passing other things along the way. Let's give the masses what they want. Let's finally legalize marijuana or hemp, whatever word you want to use. And in that process, as we give them a little bit of entertainment, we can do what we really want to do. Let's do a reset. Let's legalize cocaine next. Okay. My question is, why did you make it illegal in the first place?
To do exactly what it's doing right now. That's why.
Mm-hmm. You know that, Charles, and I grasp it to a certain point. I like to entertain it.
It's like,
go ahead.
They knew the reactions they would get from making that move.
Mm-hmm. No.
That's why I put stuff out there.
Even the psychology behind, during the 2019 to 2021, they knew. And if they didn't know, they're going to work with it. Oh, there's people that are anti this and anti that. They don't want to wear a mask. They don't want to, get a bee stung or whatever. And then the ones that didn't do it are just as funny as the ones that said, I did do it. You don't want to wear a mask? Fine. The guy that owns the store says, no, these are my requirements. What do you mean you don't want to pay with fiat currency? Well, I don't believe in fiat currency. I said, so are you going to rob me then? Last time I remember, if you want to have, I want to do whatever I want. I don't have to follow rules. There's enough pieces of land out there, look for a little isolated place or whatever where nobody knows where you are. Pitch a tent there. But for the majority of the people, they're going to be in traffic. They're going to be in malls. They're going to see people acting erroneously or acting idiotically or inconsiderate of one another. That's a common staple that's going to occur. I'm pretty sure a lot of people aren't going to be on these channels knowing if their parents are police officers and people say, I don't agree with the police academy. Oh, okay. No different. Yeah, I don't agree with firemen either. What do you mean? They don't really do their job. They only have to sit there 12 hours a day waiting for a fire to happen. I said, but that's what they get paid to do. Nobody's
further knowledge of what they know, because when that situation happens, you need them.
Yeah.
So fuck it, let them sit through 12 and wait. When your house is on fire, you're gonna wish they were waiting.
Yeah. People could turn around and say, yeah, but I said, well, that's the reason why we have insurance. If you didn't have insurance, you would have to be wealthy enough to actually have those kind of people. Because if not, that's what it's all about. How quickly can we put out, the fire, so we don't have to pay out to all the people that pull out insurance. And more times than not, firemen are paid by the budget. So they're not being paid off by private companies. It's like police officers. You want private police officer? Go to Malibu. You'll have a security system there. You'll be paying for it. It's like medical coverage. You want medical coverage? You're going to have to pay for it out of your own pocket. Well, that's too expensive. Then you're going to have to take care of yourself. That door is always available. If we choose not to self-govern ourselves, then we're going to have to take the accountability, realizing we're going to allow others to self-govern us. But we can't force other people to want to be self-governed. That'll be like going to a doctor, and the doctor, is like, okay, do you want me to tell you the truth, whatever the truth is to them, or being honest with them? That's probably the better word, being honest. Or do you want me to tell you what you want to hear? Well, you come here because you have a problem with your lungs, but you're thinking you have a cold. But should I also address the fact that you smoke like a chimney? Most people wouldn't want to hear that. Oh, how dare you say that to me, doctor? Well, I'm a doctor. I'm here to give you, doctor means to teach. I'm here to teach you. How do you think that helps you if you do that? And by the way, are you staying up late at night on the computer, fucking up with your dopamine, all that? Well, yeah. So, but then you're only coming to me here for that little Band-Aid. You want to give you some antibiotics. Okay. It's be no different pharmaceutical. People are I know they want to complain about pharmaceutical. Last time I remember, a lot of people aren't going to want to learn how to go and understand what all the different plant kingdoms still do and help you and all that. Let alone go to find somebody that actually understands all of that. Yeah, you need to get a chicoria. You need to get some certain plants or certain mushrooms.
start studying botany.
Yeah. Now we can blame if people want to blame and say, okay, well, that's the system and all that. Okay, well, they've broken us. Let's say most of us are broken. Well, now we're owned by them. So they're the ones who are going to have to hear our bitching and complaining. So they figure, okay, what do we do then? Oh, how about we just start reducing them? How do we do that? Well, we're not going to kill them off. What we'll do is we'll get them, birth control pills and condoms, maybe increase the price of homes so they'll really think twice about having an offspring or whatever. And the ones that think, oh, no, I'm not doing none of that. Yeah, but we'll still get them. What do you mean? We'll get them to go to our grocery stores, use our cars and all that. Now, this is me using my imagination, orchestrating. That's how I would do it. I might be a little bit more, tougher when it comes to people yip-yapping. And I said, maybe we should plot them against each other. Well, how do we do that? Well, let them fight over the color of their skin. If that doesn't work, let them fight over their genders. Nah, the gender's too weak. Why? Because the ones that they're always fighting with, the female gender is usually the stronger gender, but the males want to believe that they're the stronger ones. Physically, maybe, but not mentally and emotionally. What about the kids? We just ignore them. They're just the next generation. But we're ignoring them. So that's the best way to teach them. Ignore them, neglect them. Anyway, back to they've gone to Antarctica. I like the word Anta. They've gone to Antarctica and where they're using, electric snowmobiles and going up there and where they're drinking hot chocolate while they're up there.
Yeah, that videos didn't prove anything, actually, to me.
Did we think otherwise, Charles? Did we honestly think they wasn't going to learn something?
This magical trick didn't work.
Maybe they should have sent up the atheists and the Christians up there while they're up there too. Maybe they could find, and maybe even the ones that believe in Santa Claus or Satan, and then go to the North Pole.
Yeah, they definitely use religion in their argument. They had to throw that in there to include the religious people.
Again, these could all be possible in the sense that they could be valid, but how would it serve for the masses? Like, are we going to have a world upheaval? The Asians and the Indians are going to say, yeah, finally, a small group in America and North America, they've represented all of us. And they finally discovered that the Earth's surface is flat. Majority might say, no, I kind of already thought that way. And if I didn't think that maybe we're in a dome, I thought the word sea level gave it away.
Yeah, I care more about how far I can go. That's what I'm trying to figure. That's my
Here's one, Charles. When I was growing up, they did like a lot of scientific books where they say Pluto is 240 years or 242 years it takes to revolve around the sun. So now I'm thinking, okay, so
we couldn't even live that long to figure that out.
Okay, well, that's where I'm going with this. So knowing that, if it was discovered or at least they decide, okay, we've seen this orb up in the sky and we're going to call it Pluto, and they've decided to give it a number. If it was discovered 50 years ago, let's say when they finally discovered this. So if it takes 240 years or 242 years to revolve around the sun, based on most people live maybe 80 to 90 years, it would take almost 3 generations to confirm that. But it's okay. But till then, how about we just bombard it and put it in all the scientific books?
We'll call it a theory.
There you go. And that's how science works. As much as people want to bitch and complain about religion, stay fucking run from science. You want to understand science? You want to understand how sand works? Put it in your mouth. Yeah, it's kind of gravelly. No problem. I don't need somebody else to tell me that.
Do some alchemy, set it on fire.
There you go.
Heat it
You
up,
know,
melt it.
I was asking the other day there when I was waiting to go to work, the AI that Cage has given, what are all the different names that they've used in history in different languages to name the sun? And they had a whole bunch. Same with the moon. So we use different words to describe the same thing that's up in the sky.
Shit, with AI, they're gonna create their fake characters for real. Meaning, they'll speak to you and everything. They won't be in just books.
Well, isn't books a smaller version of AI? Like it's not speaking to us, but it is speaking to you because you read it. So you're having the thoughts. So now you're interacting with a voice. That's what we do among ourselves. So like it shouldn't be a surprise that maybe we are a form of AI.
The computer is going to be the new teachers.
Or the new misleading. I'm not saying computers will know that they're misleading us. It's like most people that are Christians, they don't know that they're misleading themselves, let alone others. And that question could easily be dealt with by saying, it might serve you, but how does that serve me? By you telling me that Jesus is the Savior. Well, I don't know. I said, okay, so then you're preaching for your benefit or my benefit? Most people don't ask that question of themselves, but they'll go around and go into different countries and promoting it.
Is Jesus saving the person, or are they saving themselves?
It could be, if there's even the idea of saving. It's like a surgeon saying that, Dom, I saved him. I said, no, you just you're a guy that patched them up and they're going to go back out again. You didn't save them. They still got 67 years to go. You temporarily put a Band-Aid on them. I'm not taking away from your craft, but you didn't save them. So to save from what? The hell of fire? Could be. There could be a hell of fire somewhere.
You saved them from turning that switch off.
It could be. Or you're on the other side. Let's say the possibility we're on the other side. Like, I don't want to go back into the form. No, you got to go back down. Oh, fuck. Twice now. I came as a baby and now I jumped in the baby form. Now I got to jump in as an adult. Oh, goodness. Here we go. This ought to be fun. Which shade am I going to be? Does it really matter, Dom? You're going to be ripped into it either way. What gender? Same thing. Does it really matter? Well, not we, but some people might look at certain situations. They might see an athlete, he's tall, and think, oh, wow, I can imagine what he's going through. Yeah, there's a lot of things probably going through. He probably have to find some rare shoes for his foot size. He probably has to duck under each door sill that they have, but hey, but he's an athlete. He's a football player. He's a basketball player. Yeah, most of their careers are pretty short. And then, of course, people that they're here, this is always the caveat. Yeah, but they're going to earn all kinds of money. There you go. There's a safe net. I have cancer, or I have all these injuries, but I got a shitload of money. Maybe I'll probe into flat Earth again. Or the Mandela effect. There you go. That's a fun one to pursue, the Mandela effect. But they reported him dead. Well, they would have proof when they have a death certificate of some sort. Oh yeah, I forgot they were reporting it through the media, and the medias aren't paid to tell the truth. Everything else, they're just told whatever the script is written. I'm not saying these people that went to Antarctica, Charles, are shills or agents or whatever. And even that, the best agent would be the one that doesn't know that they are agents. They're usually the naive ones. They get caught up in their ego. I'm going to prove it because I got 3,000 or 700,000 followers. It sounds like they're the Pope. I got 1 billion people following us. Okay. True, Candy. Those rabbit holes. Sorry, Charles.
Putting my jacket on. See if they're open.
Well, Charles, thank you for entertaining me. I appreciate it. I always enjoy your company. I hope you have an enjoyable numerous of different holiday practices that are upcoming.
It's just another day to me.
It is. I'm with you. It's another day. Hopefully, people can narrow it down to a bunch of moments. But either way, I'm going to respect the fact that other people want to celebrate certain days and give names to it. Have a good day, okay, Charles?
You too, Don. All right, everyone. I'm out. I hope you have a great day. Peace, Hurricane. Who else came? Not know. I'll probably go live later. I'm about to do a few things, and then I'll see y'all later. I'm out.